Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. In this episode, we will be going over how to balance chemical equations, how to calculate how much product we're going to be producing based on a given amount of reactant given to us. So, in this problem, we have a question that states given an excess of O2, how much carbon dioxide is produced in grams if we were given 32 grams of CH4. So we have the molar masses here all listed, and we have the chemical equation. So you see that CH4 and oxygen produces CO2 and water, H2O. So first thing first, we got to look at the equation and we got to say, is this equation balanced or is it not? So let's take a look. On the reactant side, you have one carbon, four hydrogens, and two oxygens. On the right-hand side, you have one carbon, two hydrogens, and three oxygens. Now we have the same amount of carbons on each side, but we have different number of hydrogens and different number of oxygens on both sides. So we do have to balance this equation. So let's start looking at balancing this equation. And I would like to start with hydrogen. The reason why I want to start with hydrogen is because we only have one hydrogen on the product side. It's in the H2O. But we actually have two sources of oxygen. It's in the CO2 and it's in the H2O. So it would be hard to start balancing the equation with oxygen. So we're going to start with hydrogen. So CH4 plus O2 yields CO2 plus H2O, right? So we have four hydrogen on the reactant side and two hydrogen on the product side. So 2 times 2 will equal 4. So now we have 4 hydrogen, but we also have more oxygen now. So now we have 4 oxygens. And remember that we need to have the equation balanced. So if we have 4 oxygen on the product side, we need to have 4 on the reactant side too. So now in order to add that, we just put a 2 in front of the oxygen. And there you go. Now you have 4 oxygens on the reactant side. So now let's do it again. You have one carbon, 4 hydrogens, and now you got 4 oxygen, right? And then carbon on the product side, you got 1, hydrogen, you got 4, and oxygen, you have 4. So there you go. You just balanced the chemical equation. So now we're going to move over and try to solve this problem. So the question says, given an excess of O2. So we have a lot of O2, it's in abundance. So it's not the limiting reactant in this situation. How much CO2 is being produced in grams if you are given 32 grams of CH4? So in order to do this, we would have to find the number of moles of CH4. We would have to calculate the number of moles of CO2 from CH4 given the number of moles of CH4 and the molar ratios between those two species. And then once we get the number of moles of carbon dioxide, we would solve for the amount of carbon dioxide in grams. So you have 32 grams CH4, right? Using the molar mass, we know that for 1 mole of CH4, we have 16.04 grams. And for 1 mole of CH4, you have 1 mole of carbon dioxide. Now you want to calculate the amount of carbon dioxide you produced in grams. And to do that, you use the molar mass of carbon dioxide. So for 1 mole, you get 44.009 grams. So let's calculate this. We're going to cross our units. And now that we know, we end up with grams for carbon dioxide. You get 87.7985. So you can say approximately 87.8 grams. And that's your final answer.